So today we start our next phase of OSCQR. This OSCQR today will cover about 5 or 6 different standards. So this semester is going to be so much easier. So level 2 of OSCQR is really about accessibility. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and it's also about some of these standards that you already have completed. So it's going to be like a complete relief compared to how we worked through last week. However, what I really want to talk about first is a little bit about RSI. So RSI is regular substantive interaction, and it is part of the US DOE regulations as well as the Higher Ed Act. As you know, online courses are really regulated. They're highly regulated, and that is due to the history of online courses with for-profit colleges, which is not good and continues to struggle. We continue to see loans forgiven from bankruptcy, as well as different lawsuits that have been brought against schools for having degree programs that turn out to be unaccredited or accredited by the for-profit College Accreditation for America, and students cannot get degrees, students cannot get jobs. They can't even get their foot in the door, even though they've got these supposed degrees. So there has continued. It started in 2017. It really started with Obama and has continued. And we saw regulations added in 2019, 2021, and we just saw more added in 2022 in December. So this really breaks down RSI. And so RSI has basically 4 things about it. First is interaction. And how they define interaction is that it's initiated by the instructor in an online course, meaning the instructor reaches out to the students in some way. It does not count for things that are recorded. That is the 2002 change, which we'll talk about more. It also has to meet accreditation standards. So one of the things, thank goodness, is that the federal government has said, we're going to rely on your accreditation to really take a look at RSI for us, and we're only going to interfere when things we think are going really poorly or we're flagged by an accreditor. So this is a really good thing, because most colleges are passing their accreditation really well with only minor changes, which is what we want to see for ours. It's also called substantive. So, and that means that the interaction initiated by the instructor is often and frequent and consistent. So when you reach out to students in different ways, it happens in a regular pattern. And that's also what regular means. It means that it's scheduled, it's tracked, and it is involving the course. So you can't reach it, nothing that counts for RSI if you reach out to students about something going on in the state or showing them, oh, hey, there's a conference going on. That doesn't count, right? It has to be about an academic nature. And so I just have this little piece. I wanted to read to you directly from what the summary response is from RSI that's really clarifies it. And what it is an emphasis on regular and substantive interaction is entirely consistent with well-documented, research-based effective practices in online course design and delivery. In online teaching and learning environments of any kind, which is asynchronous, synchronous, blended, hybrid, regular and substantive interaction must be with an instructor as defined by the institution and accreditor, be initiated by the instructor, be scheduled and predictable, be academic in nature and relevant to the course. Substantive interaction assumes direct interaction between the learner and the instructor, and requires direct instruction from the instructor, including assessing or providing feedback on students' homework, providing information or responding to questions about the content of the course, facilitating a group discussion regarding the content of a course or competency, and other instructional activities approved by the institution or program accrediting agency. So that is the actual language that we see used a lot when we're referring to RSI. And as you may or may not know, when an institution does not meet RSI, the federal government, from the Higher Education Act, cancels financial aid for the institution, or depending upon which was audited, a department. So in 2017, Western Governors was targeted by the Inspector General and audited all online courses in one department. They just showed up and sat down at a computer and started auditing these courses. And there was 106 courses, and 76 courses turned out to be correspondence courses. They lacked RSI in that course. And that department lost their accreditation, lost all their financial aid instantly. So there was a lot of stuff to work out between Western Governors and Inspector General. And what happened was they retracted everything. The government retracted everything, because really this over the years, this has been very vague, and only recently updated in 2022 have got a really clear regulation what RSI really means for us. So now we're really seeing an impact, and we need to make sure that our courses have RSI in them and qualify. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more for here. So here is by Empire State College. They developed sort of this visual gauge, and you may have seen it around on the OSCQR that from last semester. And I talked a little bit about RSI. And so they've made this gauge for us to sort of help us figure out what really RSI means. And of course, we want the happy face, or the really smiley happy face. And that's where we need to sort of put our goal for RSI for each of these courses. And most courses have all the basics covered, right? We have auto-graded quizzes, we have video lectures, we have weekly announcements with due dates. We often have weekly announcements that talk about what's going to happen during the week with due dates. We also have graded assignments with feedback. What we saw in 2002, just a couple of months ago, was the DOE decided that video lectures no longer qualify for RSI. So that's why I got my little stop sign there. Do not enter sign. So it no longer qualifies. So we now need to have discussions in the course as well as office hours. And I know this is going to be important for adjunct faculty who don't have office hours, so they definitely need to have some sort of discussion going on in the course in order to qualify. So most of our courses have this. However, we do have a portion of courses, and we don't really know how many courses do and do not meet RSI. That is why OSCQR has been sort of the topic of the town for the last 6 months, and will continue to be in the future. So this is the happy part. OSCQR meets regular and substantive interactions. It was built by SUNY Online to meet the RSI and continues to be updated every time they change the law and regulations for RSI. And not only that, OSCQR also has more. So OSCQR equals regulations. So when we actually break this down and we look at OSCQR, we have almost half of OSCQR meets RSI. So if you follow or we get to click the sufficiently present button, we know that your course is definitely RSI. Probably you're way, you're exceeding RSI, which is fantastic. The rest are all ADA 504, 508 federal regulations. So that's another 22, 23 standards right there. We have one standard for the copyright law, federal copyright law, and we have one standard for federal FERPA law. And we also have a spattering of standards that meet other DOE or NICHE requirements that are not listed in RSI. So they're just various sort of general DOE and NICHE rules, like, you have to have a syllabus, sort of some basic regulations. So there's only about one or two, actually, I think two standards that are outside of this. And one is for OER, which is highly recommended that you use OER in your course. And I know some of you are moving towards OER or have moved to OER. And the other one is for student-to-student interactions, which we know is an effective practice and helps students be inclusive, feel like they belong with community, and continue to persist at a higher rate. Is there any questions about the regulations?
Mish, what is OER? I don't know what you're referring to.
Yep, so that's open educational resources, which means they're free textbooks, free simulations, that kind of resources for students. So instead of buying textbooks or inclusive access, you are providing them a free textbook, and there's quite a lot out of there, out available.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's also low cost textbooks, which I also, yay, because they reduce the cost significantly for the students. So they're only paying about $35 to $40 instead of, 120.
150, yeah. They're real expensive.
Okay. Depending upon what subject, it can be very expensive. So here we are. OSCQR 1 was really detailed. It took some time for us to sort of go through the material, understand what it was talking about, and why we were doing it. OSCQR Level 2 is fast. Yay! So we're only going to have 4 webinars where I'm going to go through some of the basics, and you're going to recognize them pretty fast. Mostly what I'm going to be doing is giving you tips and tricks on how to fix things, especially with accessibility. Sometimes, like fixing a PDF or making things accessible and trying to get Ally 100% is a little tricky. So I'll be going through those and sort of really showing you how to dig in and how to do those. So the first one we're talking about tonight, and you can see in the right-hand corner in the upper left, I'm going to put that RSI when we hit those RSI standards for this semester. Course includes a course information area and a syllabus that makes the course expectations clear and findable. Right. And so I have a little picture. Almost all of us have some area within our course where you're putting your syllabus, and within that syllabus, you are putting in clear expectations. And I know everyone who's gone through EPTO, we go through that syllabus, and one that is required, those expectations required. So when you look back at EPTO, a lot of things you're seeing in OSCQR were required as sort of assignments to make sure that you're meeting RSI. The next one is OSCQR 1.5, which really comes from the DOE and NICHE. And this one is course includes links to relevant campus policies on plagiarism, computer use, filing grievances, accommodating disabilities, etc., academic honesty. And we know, that these both accrediting bodies want to see that the students are connected to the institution, even though they're taking an online course or online degree program. So we're kind of off the hook a little bit for degree programs, but we do have a lot of courses online. And just a reminder, if you're looking for an activity for your syllabi to get students to actually look at these policies, we have 3 that we talk about a lot. And I know Henry is doing a lot with this in Caring Campus, which is a syllabus quiz, create a course contract, or create a syllabus scavenger hunt, or sometimes called a syllabus reconnaissance activity. So if any of you are not familiar with those, I highly recommend seeing if they're going to run Caring Campus this semester and joining them. It's a fantastic course. The next one is 1.6. Course provides access to online learner success resources and technical help. Now we're doing this for you. It's part of RSI. And if you put Library, Starfish, and Tutor Me at the bottom of your menu, that is meeting RSI. You're giving the students those resources. You can also see that we have, that question mark on the right-hand side that bothers everybody. That's our Impact Support Center with all of the Blackboard technical help. So that also reaches RSI for all of you automatically. So it's really one that we try to take care of for you. It's just that we want to get that Starfish and Tutor Me in there so we get that RSI check. And then on the bottom of this slide, if you haven't seen the new student orientation, that's the link for it. And that is still up and running. Joanne Galliano is still taking care of that. And I think they continue to update that and with new information. So you can reach out to Joanne to talk to her about that as well. The next one is course information states whether the course is fully online, blended, or web enhanced. That is a no-brainer. So that is from DOE and Nietzsche. And that is just part of the regular, and we all do it. We all, put it into the syllabus, and that's all we need to do for this RSI. And then, excellent. Somebody came in. And then the final one for tonight is 213 from the DOE and Nietzsche, which is frequently used technology tools are easily accessed by the students, and tools not being used are removed from the course menu. So this is just about keeping your menu clean. I know if you are interested, Online Learning Committee is currently working on a policy for a standardized Blackboard menu for all online courses, and probably possibly for hybrids as well, or at least recommended. They're continuing to work on that. It does not mean that the menu is locked down in any way. You can of course add things like inclusive access text, your textbook link or a link to the publisher, and you can add all that stuff. But in general, what we're trying to see is that the weekly content is in weekly content, that you don't have a separate assignment folder, a separate projects folder. Everything is the weekly content. And there's still reasons why you would have to put it on the main menu. But in general, we're looking sort of, and this is from of course, an instructor's perspective. It's not a student perspective. So office hours, that would be connected to Zoom or to Class Collaborate. They're thinking about getting rid of My Grades and just calling it grades, because My Grades is a little weird. So grades, discussions, of course, and weekly content is quite forward. And then Welcome Start Here is just sort of an inclusive way we can, softer way than get started and then of course we have a Meet Your Instructor and a syllabus area. Of course, you can request your review. I'm now open for all 34 standards. So by the end of this semester, we'll have 34 done, which is quite incredible. It's a great thing. And we'll also be giving out night points and digital badge for level 2. So anybody looking to get all 3 digital badges, you can continue to do that. And I also put in this PowerPoint, which I'll upload. Here is all the actual regulations as well as interpretations of regulations. So WCET is one of our policy for higher ed for online and for technology. They're a real powerhouse. So they've been working very closely with the DOE to really negotiate these regulations and make them doable, right? And something that we can continue to do and make online classes better and better.